I'm supposed to do this now. Like I went from aerospace, like one day building F-35s to like just talking to people.
Yeah.
And there was no training. There was no like.
So it's just a switch that.
It was just a switch.
Oh wow!
And you just got it. It's like it's like one of those movies where it's like they hand you the ball and it's like you either shoot it or you let time run out. And it's like either way it goes, it's gonna work. I shot that motherfucker and it said.
What's up, guys? It's Christina. Yeah, I know I am hosting today, so this is my first time hosting. And again, this is west of Tulsa, if you're not aware. So today is an interesting one for me. I am having a friend of mine on the show today. He is a catch. He is a hottie.
Oh.
He is.
There's an intro.
I wasn't expecting that one.
You're gonna make me turn purple.
He is probably, well, in my eyes, probably the hottest black drifter we have in the industry right now.
Wow.
And I'm not talking about Hurt or T-Pain.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
He is an influencer and a daddy and a king.
Wow.
And I'm going to just bring it right over here to Gary King Jr. Thanks for being on our show today.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
That's a great intro.
Yeah,
Very welcome.
If I ever get interviewed by Shannon Sharp, that's the only thing that could top this.
I'm sure I'm a bit cherry red tomato right now, but that's okay. It's all good.
I appreciate all the sentiments. Like being the ugly fat kid in school, all that I've never heard is, get your ass on the field, boy. Like, why did you do that? Oh, man. Thank you for having me. I've been watching you guys' episodes for many months. Miss Christina's always told me about you guys, and it's an honor to be here, and thank you for having me.
No, thanks for coming.
Thank
We're
you for
excited.
coming.
Yeah.
Where did you come up from?
Long Beach.
Oh, that's a trek, man.
Yeah, so
All right.
I just recently moved to Long Beach like back in September. I love it. It's like LA, but like in the 90s, so everybody minds their business. They do what they it's nice. Everything's legitimately 10 to 15 minutes away. LA 10 to 15 is an hour.
Yeah.
I hate the traffic. Where I used to live, they shut down. I was off by San Vicente. They shut down the 3 Street to the 2, and then all the people from the apartments had to come move into the neighborhood for parking. So trying to bring a truck and trailer home every weekend.
Yeah, forget it.
Yeah.
You didn't grow up in LA, I take it.
I did.
You did?
I grew up in Baldwin Hills.
Baldwin Hills?
Baldwin Hills.
Born in San Bernardino, which I hate to admit.
San Bernardino.
Yeah. Grandmother took me in. Little baby was like, my dad was like, I'm going to go do this crack thing. Take this baby.
Oh, man.
And my grandma was like, what we going to do with this baby? I'm like, Goo Goo Gaga, feed me.
Oh, my gosh.
So Gary, for our viewers who aren't in the area, who aren't in like greater LA, tell us a little bit about Baldwin Hills, because I got a friend who lives there and I've done some shoots there, and it's a real interesting place.
So Baldwin Hills is considered, to what I found out, like the Black Beverly Hills. My grandmother was the secretary of the state building, and my grandfather was the manager of the Vandekamp factory. So they had a successful like parent thing. They were born from Texas. Grandma was born in 1927. So doing all that, coming here, she went to Texas A&M, did all that. I'm not too sure where my grandfather was because he passed away before I could like think about what he did. It was interesting because my grandmother took me in, so she was just raising me off Social Security and food stamps. So the cool thing was about my childhood, which I can say about probably other people in my area, I grew up in a great neighborhood and a great environment where everybody in the neighborhood was somebody that made something of their lives of color, whether they be Asian, Hispanic, Black, or white. It was just like of the higher middle class area. So the cool thing about Baldwin Hills is very nice homes, very beautiful. All the Dons. I stayed on Don Felipe and Don Carlos. I was in a corner house. A little bit below you have the jungles, which is considered that because it's a concrete jungle. That's where like the Black Pea Stones, 18 Streets with beef and all that. And it's crazy. The separation is like, I can see you from my house, but you don't ever come up here. So growing up in a neighborhood, I've never saw an ice cream truck in my neighborhood. But the level of professionalism, like a lot of teachers, a lot of lawyers, a lot of people who made stuff of their lives live there. So if you're not familiar with like the greater Los Angeles area, Crenshaw district, Baldwin Hills, you had like Eventually, Walmart was Montgomery Ward. Montgomery Ward's turned into Macy's and so forth and so on. You had Lucky's that turned into Albertsons, Big Boys that turned into Ralph's. So I grew up in that time where I got to see the transition of, I'd guess, where older people saw stuff. To I remember going to Fedco.
Oh, I remember
with
that.
my grandmother
yeah.
and getting a Game Boy Color, going to the Sears Automotive Center, doing stuff like that, and just random little things. So that area is different now because the car scene there when I was a kid was muscle cars and lowriders.
Yeah.
So I was never exposed to like JDM cars or anything like that. So seeing the transition now to where you go there and you see a lot more JDM cars, you see a lot more stuff because the older heads was like, man, back in my day, I had a Mazda RX-7 with the goddamn, it would spool. And I'm like, bro, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm 7 years old, bro. I do not care about your Mazda. But learning about all that is just like a melting pot of culture. If you went to the Crenshaw Mall, if you went to the Crenshaw street races, or you were a Wiener Schnitzel, all that stuff you like kind of see in movies is what that was to a brief extent. Did you have violence? Yes. Was I exposed to gangs? Yes. Well, did I join a gang? No. Did I almost get beat up? Of course. It was always that fine line of you about to fuck up, but you lucky because you funny and we like you.
Yeah.
That was the number one thing that saved us. I'll never forget, we was at Taco Bell at the Magic Johnson Theater, and it was my friend Mike, my dad, and me. And the dude was just some dude, local blood. I didn't know who he was. He was just talking. And he's like, where you from, blood? And I was like, blood, I'm not bleeding. He's like, oh, you being funny? He's like, you wanted them crab ass N-words? Crap, just dissing the Crips. I'm like, crap, bro. No, I'm a human. What are you talking about? Like, and then as the level of conversation progressed, he realized, like, oh, this kid's a square. Like, he's legit. Like, he said, N-word, to beat you up and steal your bike. And I was like, why would you do that? And he was like, you lucky you funny because I ain't got the time today. And the greatest thing, that's when I learned, like, if you talk, you can, like, I've never really had to fight. I never really had to do nothing. I gotten detained. Well, but they put the cuffs on you? Bro, I've smooth talked my way through life. And that was like the greatest thing about living in the Crenshaw area. You either like played sports, rode BMX, rode skateboards, but they was just like, oh, you're Oreo, or
they call you an Urkel.
Urkel, or
right?
Because like what the kids don't realize today is like everything you have, like we kind of had to pay for. And what I mean by that was like I know kids who got beat the fuck up because they like Dragon Ball Z. And it's like you getting beat up by the dudes, and then come to find out the dude's beating you up like Dragon Ball Z too. So it's just like it's just a victim of your environment. But it's just like wrestling, everything we like that's cool now wasn't cool then.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, but wait, was it that moment where you were like, damn, I need to stay funny?
No.
I need to be like, this is it. Like, if I'm going to be okay, I need to stay funny at that moment. Like, was that, or were you just always funny?
I never thought I was funny. I never knew what I had until my aunt told me until like a couple years ago. She's like, you got the gift of gab. And it was like the biggest thing that I learned when I was a kid. The teachers would tell my grandmother, Gary's not a bad kid. He's just mischievous. Like if he put the effort he put in at recess into his homework, he would be great. And my grandma was like, why don't you do that? I'm like, school's boring. But I never understood it until like, I guess like the Hoonigan thing and doing all this content and where I'm at now, where it's like, I just make up shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't like reading scripts. I don't like, just give me a couple bullet points and I'll make it work.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing that makes, for full context, you work with Hoonigan, right? You have your own channel, which is hilarious, by the way. I think it's great. But that's the thing. We talked about this off camera is that, the comedy, that's just you. You don't need a script because you're just living your life. You're living your interests and you're just being who you are. And I think, especially us as being all YouTubers here, basically, we're just sharing what we're doing. We're not trying to put on a front, except for CJ. He does that every night for the news. You're
a news anchor?
I'm a news anchor, yeah.
Oh shoot!
Yeah. Oh, you're sitting with a pro, dude. This guy's interviewed like presidents and like all kinds of stuff.
Bro, I'm sitting next to like the modern day Hal Fishman.
It's funny too because on our last show, we talked about the real story about Ron Burgundy.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
and CJ one day we're talking and he's talking about Harold Green or Mort, whatever the guy's name is, Mort
Krim.
It was based off that character, and he's like, I was like, and I met these guys. I'm like, dang, dude, you've been around for a long time. Dude.
I have been around a long time.
So that's what's kind of like interesting about this dynamic is that we've got somebody who does the news professionally, and then us schmucks who just like are into cars, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, except for Dan, he's not the car guy.
I'm not the car
You're not the car
That's
guy.
his motive, at least.
It works best that way when you have like a non-car, because to them, like you could bring like Jay Leno in here, or what's that dude's name from Top Gear? The dude, he talks like they all talk.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy Clarkson.
Jeremy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know
Jeremy
you're
Clarkson
talking
came
about,
in,
yeah.
like, but like people, like I've been like when I bring my son around people, I'm like, son, this is James Dean. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Who's
that?
who's James Dean? Like, you don't know who James Dean is, son? He was like, he just some tar Irish dude, Dad.
Yeah.
You right.
Yeah. So, okay. There's so much you do. Like, you have your YouTube channel, which I think most people know you from your YouTube channel, but also Hoonigan. I mean, that's a huge brand you've been working with for years.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, you do a ton of drifting, a ton of events. You're always I feel like every time I see you in an event, you're like working an event, whether it be Hoonigan or whatever you're doing, driving. So, like, what came first in all that stuff? Would you say, like, did you start your YouTube channel first? Did you start with Hoonigan first? Like, and then I know you were like in the aerospace industry before all this. So,
Yeah, you threw me off guard on that one. F-35s. I was like, oh, what?
So, what kind of the timeline? Like, tell me about the timeline, because I'm kind of confused.
Before there was the All Spark, there was me. So essentially, you want short form or you want long form?
Short form is good.
Sum it up. People always say you got to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to go to SMC for kinesiology. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a PE teacher. I want to whip fat kids into shape because I was a fat kid.
I went there to pick up girls, dude.
Bro, I like
There's some cute girls there.
As weird as this sounds, I've never been good with girls. So that was like off the table. Long story short, was going to join the Navy. Grandma passed away. Couldn't join the Navy. Wanted to join the Navy to work on planes. Was sitting on my butt. Dude came, you got to do something with your life. And then I saw Crimson. Went to Crimson, talked to the lady. GTA 5 just came out. She's like, do you want to go to school or not? I was like, I don't know. Why? Because GTA 5. Let me know how GTA 5 goes. Go to school. My last month or mass block in class, Northrop Grumman comes. They're like, we're interviewing people who want to work for Northrop Grumman. Talk to the dude, and we're talking. He's like, what's your mechanical experience? I was like, tell him build Skylines, because at the time, I worked for my boy Nick, building Skylines by accident, run into him, leaving a job at Virgin Galactic. He was like, hey, come to my shop. Go to his shop. It was like literally like the scene from Tokyo Drift. Bunch of JDM cars. A bunch of shit that ain't supposed to be here is right in my face. So this is coinciding. That's why this story doesn't make any sense. So go to Nick, go to Northrop Grumman. Finally, first aerospace job was Duke's here in Chatsworth. I was putting together parts for the experimental Honda plane that they had.
Oh, wow.
Then from there, went to Northrop, got accepted to the F-35 program, did F-35 a bit, went to secret programs. Right before I left from secret programs, got accepted to the B-21 Raider program. Then I started at Hoonigan. Worked at Hoonigan. Brian Scotto, we met up in a park. Met him in a parking lot, was meeting my friend Parissa, God rest her soul, to go to the Long Beach Grand Prix. Brian Scotto talked to me like how I'm talking to you guys, DMs me a couple of days later. I think you'd be a good fit here. The rest is history. So here we are.
Wait, so
now.
you were kind of like pursuing Hoonigan while you were working at Northrop?
Not at all. Not at all. I never thought I'd be here. I was working at Northrop Grumman. That was like my end all be all. I was going to do the typical 30 years white picket fence, house, kids, dog, and everything, because I got accepted to a generational program, which means I will forever have work. My kids can work there. My children's children can work there. Because once you're in there, you're in there.
Kind of like the automotive industry.
Yeah.
That's the way it used to be. You get in, your dad worked there, you work there.
Yeah.
Your grandkid ends up working there.
And that's changed. And I think that's the one thing for like American jobs, quote unquote, like military defense has to be in America.
Yeah, I agree.
It can't be in another country. I remember we had the whole security briefing. If somebody's outside the fence, don't let them in. They call it the old Chinese blueprint. So essentially a lot of competing companies would sit outside the fence, take pictures from different countries, and then at some point, however they do their shit, they figured out their shit so you can't see it even with a camera.
Sure.
So the best thing about working at Northrop Grumman is the people. I got to learn various different walks of life. So this is that transition where Obama's out of presidency, Trump becomes the president, and you're learning how to deal with different personalities. You've got former military, still military, retired military, then just civilians like myself who've done like DOD contracting and all that. And the cool thing is like, I'm learning how you see walks of life. I'm learning how you see walks of life. It's like, you like Trump, you like Obama. How do you feel, Gary? I'm like, bro, I'm here for skylines. I don't give a fuck. and this is to this day, people are like, what do you think about politics? And I'm going to put it like this. I don't care who the fuck's in office. I'm going to get my money regardless. If it's Trump, is it me? If it's Brian Pumper, I don't care. I'm going to get my money. You believe in what you believe in. You believe in what you believe in.
Yeah.
Just leave me the fuck out of it. That's all I care about. But
Gary King for president.
Listen, this is going to sound weird. Let the gays be gay. Let people have guns. Just don't touch the kids and the elderly.
Amen.
That's my
That sounds like a campaign slogan.
that's it. And so to all of that, it's like getting to Hoonigan, getting to here. It's like one of those like, as a kid, you like the teacher's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, I race car driver because I played Gran Turismo. Every kid played every video racing game, where it be that off-road game that was in the arcade, Cruising USA, freaking whatever on Nintendo 64, PlayStation, Atari, whatever it was. At the end of the day, like I always felt, and I feel now, that I'm living my childhood fantasy. And what I mean by that, when you're a kid, you get a refrigerator box, you make car noises, or you pretend to be a wrestler with your homies on a trampoline, or like you shoot a ball and you say Jordan. Realistically, we know how many people are wrestlers. Realistically, we know how many people actually play sports, and it's like having the physical size to do it, but my heart's not in it. So even if I did do it, I'm taking it away from you, because there's people who are dying every day and every night. And to think about it, like with me in automotive, a lot of people will never get to taste or get to see or get to experience the things I get to experience. And what I mean by that, I have friends who have done activities that have made them millions, but they've never seen Australia. They've died before they can even know what Japan is like. And I'm just humbled by how life works and how all of this works, because essentially, like, statistically, I can't spell for shit. My grammar is horrible. Like, you could ask Brian Scotto himself. When he hired me, he was like, Gary, you can't spell and your grammar sucks. They sent me to the USC online school for grammar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, bro. I was so hyped. I remember I walked to Brian. Brian, if you watching this, I was Brian and his wife. I ran up to him. I was like, Brian. He's like, well, I know the difference between they, there, and they are. And he was like, and I'm like 26, 27. He looked at me like, what? And I'm like, because for him, he went to school. He's smart. He wrote magazine articles and everything. And it's like, for me, it's like, I know these three, and they're like, good job. Good. He just rolled his eyes, and it's crazy to see as him as a mentor to me, and it means a lot because he knew Ken. I got to meet Ken. And what people don't realize is in this grand automotive world that they laid a foundation for everybody to start their own automotive YouTube. Whether you want to credit it or not, or however you look at it, Gymkhana 1 came out, 2008? That's almost 20 years ago. I had a Subaru at the time, and seeing that, I was like, fuck.
I wanted a Subaru just watching that.
Bro, you could, Dion DJ will tell you, I fucked my Subaru up crashing into a curb. And the worst part about it, like my nickname, like for that small pit, was Ken Black. when I figured out I could like do tornadoes in the Subaru, because I watched him, and my boy's like, what do I do? He's like, bro, it should be like a rear-wheel drive, just like pin it and pin it. Bro, I was in the parking lot above Crenshaw Mall, dogging the shit out that poor Subaru.
You know what's funny? 2008 is when I bought my Subaru, my Legacy. And Gymkhana, the Gymkhana series on YouTube, was my first official addicted YouTube series that I watched. Legit. Like, that's...
Well, you bring up Ken Block, right? You know, rest in peace. You know, you got to meet him. What was he like? I know a lot of people want to know what he was like. He looks like a legit dude, like he was on camera, like he was in person. And, you know, can you speak a little bit about Ken?
So I met him 3 times. And the first time I met him was after they're doing the Kazi, the Cosworth Escort. So it's the dudes in there painting one of the Cosworths, and then he has his Cosworth. This was before they released, like, I'm driving this Cosworth, and we made a mock Cosworth. It's my first, after my first event, FD Long Beach. I walk into 621 Golden. That's the second building after downtown. I'm on the phone with my boy Miguel, and I'm sitting here like how I'm sitting here talking to you, looking straight. And I'm like, man, I'm fucking cooked. Like, I'm just tired. I was sick. I'm drinking emergency all day, eat a cough drop, and I hear, hey, what's up, Gary? I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm like, I don't think you can be in here. And I don't know who it is. And he turns around, and he's got like, not to sound, and I always Ken Block's got a thick ass neck. And it's just learning. I didn't know it's from race car driving. Like, a lot of race car drivers have a thick neck. He turns around and it's like, you know that commercial where the football player throws a kid the towel and he just turns around? Yeah. It was like that. He's like, I think I can be here. And I was like, I gotta go. And I'm like, yo, Mr. Block, nice to meet you. Mr. Block. Because I always will call him Mr. Block because I feel like I haven't earned the right to call him Ken.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that's for everybody that's close to him. It's just out of respect.
Right.
Sure.
I'm like, Mr. Block, it's nice to meet you, Gary. He's like, I know who you are. I'm like, in my head, like, bro, I'm like, every time I meet anybody that I've looked up to, whether it be Dave Osato from BMX, Edwin De La Rosa from BMX, freaking any driver, Chris Forsberg, Matt Field, James Dean, whenever I meet somebody, I'm like, there's this list that pops in my head. And it's like, you know, when you watch a movie and it'll be like, oh man, Michael Schumacher, 10 times, all that pops up and I regurgitate it. But this time I was like, hey man, how's it going? He's like, man, I'm just trying my best. And I'm like, do or do not, there is no try. He points, he says, Master Yoda. I'm like, yes. So every time and I was only talking to him for 5 minutes. And the number one thing I don't like to do with car people is talk about cars. Reason why is because we live this, we breathe this day in, day out. So for that brief second, you can take somebody away from that. That was it. And I didn't know he was a Star Wars dude. So that was the first time I meet him. The second time I meet him was at the Hoonigan party where they're like, hey, we just reached just a certain amount of subscribers. And it's just like this. Like, he's staring at me. And it's not even like a long, it's just a brief, like, don't fuck this up. and then the third time I met him was the last time I met him when he brought over, I believe it's the Hyundai. We were at the Compton building, and he comes and he's doing this. And now this is the first time I get to see him drive. And this year was the last year he was alive. And the conversation was one of his like agents or whatever. I don't know who they are. I just remember the conversation was like, how do you feel about going to Utah? And I was like, for what? Like to work with Ken. And I was like, I'd love it. And I just love it that we feel your personality with his driving would blend well because you're hyper, he's focused. So it's like the way you look at things isn't the conventional way you look at things. So that would be cool to see how you see what he does. And I was like, cool. So that last time that I met him, saw him drive, it's when he does the donut under Hertz car in the building. Because I'm like, you got this. I know he got this, but you know, a little positive reassurance goes a long way. And I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, fuck. Like, it's like you watch sports, you imitate the movements, which is what I was doing in the parking lot. Then you get to see the player play, and then it's like, then you become the player. And what I mean by that, even in my own automotive, like, I've been drifting less than 2 years. But the shitty thing for me is that I have to learn what you see is what I'm learning. So there is no like, I want to go practice, I want to go do this. It's like everything is right now. And go back into what we talked to before this, going in front and talking to people. If you fuck up, like that first 5 seconds is all you got to the impression on people. If you fuck up, it's either you can walk away. Oh, sorry, I touched the thing too.
All good.
Either you walk away or you're gonna stay and watch this shit burn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you gonna watch this shit burn. And the hardest part about all of that is just like, it's like watching a dude fight who doesn't know how to fight, but he's just mimicking what you do, but he's like, bro, this dude's learning as he goes. And that's been my whole life, whether it be school, whether it be the church, whether it be Northrop Grumman, whether it be automotive, and learning from what I learned from Mr. Block is that, and Scotto was like, how do you take all this and make it about you? And what I mean by that goes to marketing. Essentially, Hoonigan's a really great marketing company that shows automotive lifestyle. And everybody's doing that now. And the hardest part is, how do you market yourself? How do I watch this? How do I become what I want to become? Mind you, going back, I didn't want to do this. Scotto was like, I see something in you. You don't see it, but I know what it is.
Yeah.
Having Scotto, Zach, Vin, Ron, Hurt, Kakawa, Micah Diaz, Corey Hossiford, Georgia, and a bunch of other people, Bradley Saxton, a bunch of other people, it's understanding like anybody can make $1. But how do you go about making $1? Are you in automotive to chase money? Are you in automotive to chase your dream? I'm not in it for the money. I just happened to get paid.
Yeah.
I was doing this. I was still had my Skyline before Hoonigan. And I was doing this out of the passion of the video game that I always wanted to play. Out of Gran Turismo Initial D. And I got it. Now it's a platform that I can show everybody. And the most crucial part about all of this is everybody will taste success at least one time. But the second time isn't guaranteed. For me, I had it the first time, and Hoonigan talked to me. It was a mutual, you got to learn how to talk to people, bro. Like, this ain't, like, what you think this is ain't what it is. Take some time to yourself. This isn't a good bias to see you later, bet. And I sat there and I watched missing out on all the fun, missing out on all this. And then when they brought me, like, hey, you ready to come back? It was like, yeah. It was like, yeah, I'm going to learn how to talk to people because this isn't high school. I can't talk to you like I can talk to her. And I'm talking, and what I mean by that, I talk to everybody the same, women, boy, child. Like, you can't talk to a kid like that. That little motherfucker got to hear from somebody.
I would agree with that.
But see, I think that's why so many people like you, though, because you're real, you know, and you really weren't, you didn't get things just handed to you. It wasn't like you weren't born into this. You don't have a rich family that just, you know, you just got things. Like, you work hard for your stuff. And this is one of the things we talked about on one of our last shows was when your wheels got stolen.
Oh,
like
yeah.
how messed up it is because you work hard for your shit. Like, and then somebody just takes it, you know? So like, I think that's why you're so popular. I think why people like you so much because you're real, you're easy to talk to. I know when I go to events and I see you, you talk to everybody. It's not like you're trying to hide behind the, you know, the table or whatever.
I also think that that's a really good point because, you know, in the world of, we're inundated with YouTube channels and Instagram personalities, and let's just face it, a lot of it is fake. Everybody's chasing clout or chasing the numbers or whatever. But when you find something, you're like, this guy is pretty like real.
Yeah.
If he's faking it, he's faking it really good. But you know, if he's real and he just shoots his own personality, does his own thing, and as we all know, putting a YouTube channel or YouTube videos together is not easy. Everybody thinks it's like, oh, you just turn on the camera. It's not. It's not. Yeah, you got to go shoot the camera. You got to shoot the footage, but you can't. You got to put it together. You got to think about what you're doing because you're entertaining people, but you're also entertaining people with your life and trying to be truthful. It's not as easy as people think.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think the biggest factor is what Christina said right off the top, and that is you're the hottest drifter on the planet.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
That's a good. You know what? That's a good segue because let's
I
talk
left
about.
him silent there for a second.
Yeah,
That doesn't happen very
as
often.
you're thinking about that, we're gonna hit you with some hard questions today.
Hey, listen, you can hit me as hard as you want.
So, did I catch that right? You've only been drifting for 2 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And mind you, this is 2 years. This is 2 years every other month.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like, I got to 34 in 2021 and started driving in 2022. And then the conversation with Hurt came to me. And I'll never forget this conversation. Hey, man, when you going to stop bullshitting and like actually drift? I was like, man, I don't know. I'm looking for
Called you out.
Yeah, because I look at him like a big brother. And the thing is, like, when your big brother will always push you. He's like, when you gonna stop? I say, bro, I ain't got money for a car. You got a car right there. Bro, this is my Skyline. Like, I'm not about to fuck this up. And then he was like, listen, it's gonna take you to places. I guarantee you drive this car, it's gonna take you to places you wouldn't even imagine. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. What do I got to lose? And the grant, I was like, yeah, I paid like 60 grand for this. Fuck it. I'll throw it away if I got to. And what I mean by that is a lot of people won't never invest into themselves because they look at the dollar amount. $60,000 for a car is a lot of money. Mind you, this is just the car. I haven't done shit to it besides drive it and fart in it and eat in it. And I was like, you know what? I'm never not going to listen to you because everything you've told me or anytime somebody of status or somebody sees something in you, just try it. The worst you can say is like, least it didn't work out.
Yeah.
But I can't fail unless I try.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it. I hit up Rob at Pop Shop. I was like, hey man, I was typed on the Instagrams looking for a diff. My boy Rob at Pop Shop said, I got a Cusco 2-way right now for you, $700. I'll install it for you and everything. Just bring me a S14 core. Brought him that. Put the diff in. Then I start driving. No angle kit, no nothing. I'm learning at Apple Valley. I took like one private day. It took me so many tries, so many fucking tries. Shout out to Jay Lynch. He was the one who taught me how to transition. So we're doing we're somewhere by Willow Springs. I'm driving my ex, him and myself and his daughter. And I'm trying to he's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to zap and then zap. He's like, when you zap, just let the car hiccup and it'll bounce and then get back in it. Don't let it zap too long because it'll straighten out. I do that. Took me 2 tries, figured it out. Then we go to James Walt the next week. It's Matthew, my ex, and myself, and we're here. I'm like, I want to drift like the whole Chingadera. And I'm doing figure eights, and Matt's like, man, stop fucking around, just try it. Clutch kick, did it. Then it was like, okay, from there, I want to do the 8 to the other side. And I didn't know, and mind you, I'm looking at my speedometer. I'm like, bro, you cooking at 70, but you got to go faster. And I'm like, in my head, it's like, do or do not. Goes back to that. And in the 2 years, only had 2 private days, and then go to Black Dudes Drift. Then I learned to do the Black Dudes Drift obviously it's in the name. It's not only for black people. It's open to everybody, but for Black Dudes Drift, it's understanding there's black dudes that drift. There's more of us than you see. There's more than meets the eye, Megatron. And I'm like, bro, you came from here, you came from there, you came from there. There's dudes in Fox bodies, there's dudes in Chevelles, there's dudes in Hellcats, there's dudes in S chassis, but we're all here for drifting.
Yeah. And
I'm drifting there, learning from those little steps in that private day. Every 5 laps, 1 lap's perfect. People are like, can I get a ride along? I'm like, I'm not good at this. But as I progress, it goes back to you either fail or burn.
Yeah.
And in the 2 years, it's like I am granted the blessing of being able to have a job that pays for my track time. And what I mean by that, win, lose, or fail, that's content. For that's the grand scheme of things.
Right.
And sometimes the fail content's the best content.
Yeah, that's true.
People can relate to fails. People can relate to fails.
All last year, I wouldn't say I failed. I was a victim of circumstance. Go to LS Fest last year with a car with no power steering. I go out there, fuse blew, car turns off. Go out a second time, power with no power steering and angle kit. So if you know angle kits don't lock, and at full lock you need power steering.
Yeah.
I go out there and the dude's like, "Don't do a burnout before you go out." So I go and go straight, and the motherfucking steering wheel locks up, and I almost hit the K rail.
Oh shit.
Next month, this dude lets me borrow his man. I'm so sorry, bro. I'm so sorry. He lets me borrow his OBS truck with a blower. Ran into a K rail. Oh, but wasn't my fault. Come to find out, I was doing a donut, and then I hit a patch where there was oil. So as I'm hitting the brakes, the wheels only have oil, and it slid smooth into the K rail. Then the engine blew after that. He wasn't mad. He wasn't mad, but you could imagine.
Sure.
Yeah.
A shout out to my boy Jason Sandusky for making that situation right.
But you know what you gave him? The best story ever.
Content. And the number one thing is this dude can't fucking drive. This dude fucking sucks. Whoop-de-whoop-whoop. But when I was posting the videos of Link Apple Valley, you didn't say shit. When I was posting the videos of me learning, you didn't say shit. But the way my brain is wired is I take negative criticism better than positive.
Yeah.
So if you came in here like this
Yeah.
ugly, fat, black motherfucker, I would have been like, yeah, I'm ugly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But it's just the law of the land. And when I tell people in content creation or whatever you want to call this, is being able to take it to the chin. Because there's people the people who put those comments, I've seen some of them in real life, they don't keep that same energy.
Yeah.
They be like, man, you a lot bigger than I thought you were.
I would never have said that if I knew how big you were.
and then there's some people who stand on their truth, and I like it.
Yeah.
Good. And this is the biggest thing Pete Weber said. He said something, hate me or love me, you still watched, and that's all you could do.
Yes, right.
And
That's
not to
right.
sound cocky or anything, bro, you talking shit to me, to my peers, to everybody from the comfort of your home. you got to go back to your shitty ass day job, to your shitty ass family, to your wife that don't think you shit, to your mama who said you shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
Instead of living your dream, you
Right.
doing, you making money, but at the end of the day, when you laid to rest, did you live your life?
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like that, especially because we get our fair share of comments and haters and all that stuff. And, you know, you're just like, I feel bad for them because, like, you know, you have to actually say that to make yourself feel better or look better, or are you trying to get some I don't, whatever. But, like, all the people that I know, especially when we go out to events or, you know, at the races or whatever, the guys out there doing it, they're not talking negatively about you. Because they're going through it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what people like. That's what I love about your channel is that you're kind of riding along your life. So people are getting to be either inspired, entertained,
Yeah.
get a good laugh or whatever, or find out good information. Because you have information, whether it's, you know, by chance or you purposely doing it, you're providing a service to people. And then all they have to do is like unsubscribe if they don't want to watch it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Plain and
That's
simple.
right.
But for some
Yeah.
reason, people just got to be like, "Oh, you suck! You guys don't know what the hell you're talking about," or they call Dan a boomer, or
No,
you
that
know.
was me.
Oh, so see,
Well, and that's the thing though too. Like you're always super positive, and so when I first met you, because I've only known you a little over a year now, but we became friends and we stayed friends, and you've actually helped like guide me through some shit that I went through. Like I remember I had a few haters that said some stuff, and I was like, how do I handle this? But you were always so good at, you were always like staying positive, and you're like, you can't let it get to you. You gotta turn your eye, like. And so I can't tell you like how much that has helped, but I think again, that goes to show why people love you so much, because you're positive. You're not a dick. You're not, like you, and you get shit done. So
wait a second, you have
Yeah.
haters?
I have haters. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Somebody made a really rude comment to me. I don't remember what it was. Something about somebody was talking shit and saying that they didn't feel I was representing 805 very well. I don't remember. It was some dude.
Brother.
Some dude.
Oh, like it's your responsibility to represent 805.
I know,
What
like-
the
Are you talking about the beer?
Maybe. I mean, I'm not a big beer drinker, so maybe.
Nah.
So,
Hey,
yeah.
you know what? That's a perfect time to plug. Like, hey, comment, like, subscribe to our show, and if you don't, you hate women. So
You hate women and black people.
and black people. So you're sexist and racist.
And you know
And
what?
boomers.
I'm gonna just throw this. I got a bit of the tism. So you don't like nepotism?
Yeah, you're a bad person if you don't like, follow, and subscribe,
That's
and leave
right.
a comment.
That's
so,
right.
anyways, sorry for that.
Too
Oh,
funny.
and our tip line page.
Yes.
If you got a story, car, you want to come on the show, send us a message on our tip line, westoftulsa.com/tip line. Boom.
Hate us in
Yeah.
person.
Right.
Yeah. Hate us in person.
Hate us in person. Come join us in the studio and hate us.
Yeah. Anyways, so
Okay, so I'm curious about your son. So, like, recently, like I would say in the last few months, you're introducing more videos where your son's in your videos, and your son's a teenager, obviously. How old is he's
16.
16.
Yes.
So he seems to be interested in drifting and all the car stuff. How is that going?
It's fun because the way my son describes our relationship, he's like, Dad, you can't be mad at me annoying you because I am you. And I'm like, Dad, and then I call my mentor.
He knows how to get to you.
Because yet again, like the fruit don't fall far from the tree. And it's the art of persuasion. He's like, Dad, I've got a way with words. I'm like, I wonder where you get it from. But to hear it back to me
Yeah.
isn't mad because we share all the same hobbies. He likes Transformers. We like anime. He likes cars. Everything he loves. And then people are like, Dad, Emmanuel, your dad's cool. And he's like, this the biggest like I can see in his eyes is when we go somewhere and so people are like, are you the dude with the car? Are you the dude from when? Like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is my son, Emmanuel. I don't tell people his name.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, this is my son. He's like, hi, I'm Optimus Prime. And I'm like, but I'm like, bet. Like, I'm not going to tell you, but it's because you still shaking their hand. It's just you don't want them to know your name, just in case.
Yeah.
And they're like, how lucky your dad is to be your dad. He's like, yeah, I know, I see him every day. but it's because he's so cold, calculated. But he's the fucking he's him. Like it's if I could describe my son, he's a more efficient me.
Yeah.
Like the boy, I can't be mad.
Yeah.
His B's are almost A's and his C's are almost B's. And it ain't one of those like, oh, it's like a 70. Like, no, his B's are like 89s and his C's are like 79. So he's at that like just one more test.
Yeah.
And Same shoe size. He's that boy is 6'1", 210. And so it's like every time I get new, she's like, we got new shoes. And it's the gift of not having for him to have. And like I explained it, he knows I'm away a lot, but you understand I'm trying to build a future. So if you want this, you can have it. If you don't, you can sell it and do whatever you want. Because when the dust settles, we're in this together. And he always says, I can't wait to work for you. And I'm like, I can't wait to work for you. And then one day it was like, for me, with me. That's the biggest. If you work for me, then there's you're not an asset. You're just a cog in the system. Yeah. With me, you understand the input and everything. Yeah. And the best thing about him wanting to drive cars, he's like, Dad, I want to drive the Mark II. Drive the Mark II. And I'm like, don't do nothing stupid. The first thing he does, he's trying to pin it. I'm like, this car don't make no power. But
are you low key proud of him?
I'm low key proud of him for trying. Because if that car got up from underneath him, I'm gonna just tell him to keep the floor pin. And if the cops come, my son's just learning how to drive. He don't know no better. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. You gonna yell at a kid, bro? He's just trying to learn how to drive in an open parking lot. And he's like, Dad, when can I drive the 34? And I'm like, man, soon. And I'm like, in my head, man, this motherfucker don't run long enough for you to drive it.
I saw him on some footage of him on the simulator.
Yes.
How was that?
That was emotional for me because my father wasn't always around. So I don't know how to throw a football. I don't know how to throw a baseball. All those fundamental stuff, like the cliche stuff, I didn't get to do that. Like learning how to ride my bike, my dad was in the backyard watering some shit. I'm like some kid weeble wobble, one training wheel breaks, break the other one. I break the other one and I'm like doing all this. I never forget, I learned how to ride a bike in my grandma's kitchen, holding the walls like this. and then I'm riding the bike through the house. But like showing him and how to drive that thing, and then he's driving, I'm like, right hand, left hand. Because if I say shift up, shift down, he doesn't know what the fuck that is. So right, and I'm watching him after that first 10 seconds of me. He's driving Lime Rock, and he's going down the street, man. And mind you, I'm like, son, listen to when you think you should shift. If it pegs out, you should have shifted way before. And 3 laps in, and I'm like, that's my boy! That's my boy! He can do it!
That's awesome.
He can do it!
Oh, that's great.
But it's just one of those, he likes what I like, because I could have had a kid that zero interest.
Yeah.
And Transformers to the T, we like different style of Transformers. He's a Bay-first kid. So all the Michael Bay movies. But then I was like, those movies are shitty. He's like, you got old man syndrome. and what I mean by that is when you ask people about Jordan, LeBron, Jordans are great, but you're stuck in a period of what you watch. So if you peel back and actually watch it, I watched the Transformers movies again because of him. I'm just mad because the Transformers don't look like what I want them to look like. But the substance is there. There's more ruthlessness. There's more aggression. There's more story. So I respect it. Will I buy the figures for me? Maybe. But for him, he likes that, but he likes the same stuff. But having genuinely go to same hobbies, sometimes he don't be feeling it. When we were at Hot Pit, he had an allergy attack. And I'm announcing, he's like, Dad, I gotta go. I don't feel good. And I look at him his face is puffy. And as the dad in me is fuck, I gotta take this kid home. But I'm like, bro, they paid you to be here. So I hit up Rance. I'm like, Rance, throw him the keys to Mark II. Rance, take Emmanuel home. Bet. And it wasn't for what. It was all the people around me is the system. It wasn't why do I have to do this? Threw him the keys. He's like, bet, come with me. Yeah. And he handled that. Gilbert, if there's an issue like this, do that, do this. And it's just, or Joss or Jocelyn or John, it's everybody around me facilitates for him, but also he facilitates for me at the booth. He's bilingual. He speaks fluent Spanish. So people come, you just think he's just some curly haired black kid, but nope, everything works. So the biggest blessing, I told myself, is having him. I'm learning how to be able to express my feelings, because I'd get angry and frustrated a lot. It's just understanding, bro, you're overwhelmed. And I said, my son was being able, he's like, Dad, am I annoying you? Am I annoying you? and you know, they do that shit. I'm like, well, nigga, yeah. But the way he describes it is I'm annoying you on purpose so you can learn how to deal with it, because my biggest thing is if you can't deal with your kids, how can you deal with people in the public eye?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And being in this world, you never know when any event a camera could be on you. And we've all seen it. Think about it when Michael, what's that fool? Christian Bale. He crashed out on the Instead of Terminator Salvation, he's yelling, "Are you fucking stupid?" This, that. And it's like, bro, I didn't even know Batman was British, but now, but just stuff like that, and it's like being able to deal with shit at home, and you could do that, you'll be able to deal with the rest of the world.
Right. Yeah.
He hasn't driven the R34 yet?
Fuck no. Fuck no. And that's not a fuck no. Like, I don't believe in him. I still have to teach him how to drive stick shift.
Yeah.
Mind you, he has to learn how to drive a left-hand drive car, stick shift. Like, I got the EG hatch, and he's like, this. He looks at this, bro. Dad, this thing's a piece of shit. I'm like, son. I hit him with. I feel like it's Craig. It's Craig and his dad. Son, you don't know what this is. This is a 1993 Honda Civic EG CX, and I'm like, this car's designed. It's been stolen once. He's like, somebody will steal this. I'm like, son, you don't know.
That's right. Who doesn't know?
You're going to learn in this and you're going to learn in that. But it's like, I know he's ready. So the plan is, and he knows this, is my grandfather's engine is out the 34. And I'm going to put that in the Mark II. And I want to build the car with him. And then eventually next summer, try to drive somewhere far. Do the whole, like, you want to go sightseeing, son? And it's like this is Vegas, this is Arizona. That's as far as we get it. But I told his mom, like, I'd love to build that car with him, teach him to learn how to drift in it, do everything he wants to, and then actually build a car for him. I had an R32 4-door that I was going to do a VQ swap, this, that, and the third. And then time became crucial. I'm tired of spending days in the shop. I'm tired of spending every fucking weekend, the last 5 years in a shop dedicated to a car that barely runs. I barely have one car that runs right. How am I gonna build my son something when my shit don't work?
Yeah.
Right.
So when the time comes, he knows what's up. But will I let him drive the 34? Yes. But I just have to mold him into driving the 34.
And I noticed on the 34, obviously you're not running the RB in it.
No.
What's the story with that? In case people don't know what the story is.
Long story short, grandfather had a house fire. He lost his 64.5 Mustang and a C5 Corvette. He bought that Corvette when it was brand new, and it was one of those, like, he was like, son, this car right here be the Dodge Viper, and he don't talk like that. He's more like he like Wayne. This right here beat all. I'm like, wow, he's a twin turbo supercharged motherfucker. Was an alternator and a power steering belt. But I thought, but we was kids. We was like, wow,
believed it, yeah.
We believed it. And I never forget. My sister calls me and she's like, Wayne. That's my middle name. They call me that because my dad's Gary Sr. I'm Wayne Jr. So they'll just call me by Wayne. Grandfather's house caught on fire, and I was like, "Oh man, he dead?" Like, nah. And it's just one of those. I didn't spend. When you think something tragic, I didn't spend enough time with him. I didn't do this. Yeah. Nah, he fine. Like he just lost everything. And I pull up to the house. I see the garage. It's like one of those. You see the smoke and everything. And I looked in the garage, and as like a car person, everything is gone.
Yeah.
And I told my uncle, "You think Grandpa? Like, let me get this Corvette, and I'm gonna take the engine out and put it in something." I was always going to LS swap a Skyline, but then 4-door after 4-door after 4-door, had to pay off some debt, finally got out of debt. Hoonigan approaches me. Ron calls, he's like, we're bringing Project Garage back. Would you want to build something? I was like, I got an LS engine that I want to I'll put in a Skyline. He was like, all right. I was like, because the first thing I was like, I built my R33. People seen enough of that. That car is done. And I'm like, cool. I was like, I want to put an LS on my Skyline. Sounds good. And he tells me the ways to how to get sponsors, what I need to do to massage them. Bet. Do that, and then pretty much took my grandfather's C5 Corvette. When the house fire happened, the blessing of this whole thing is the fire fell on top of the car. And since the car is mainly fiberglass, it looked woven as if like it was cooked. The fiberglass was cooked. So as I take apart everything, I give it to a dude to dismantle the car. I was like, as I think about this is a bad deal because I like paid him to dismantle the car and let him keep the parts. I get the engine, we're taking apart the engine, and they take this, like, the cylinder heads off and just dump water out. And like, yeah, this engine's fine, bro. You can just run it like this. And I'm like looking at Marina. I'm like, what should I do? The dude's like, we have two options. You can run the engine like this, or we could just rebuild it. We rebuild it. And then that's when I learned, like, because we're tearing down the engine and everything, how simple an LS is and how basic. Like, I can tell, I'll call LS engines Forrest Gumps. Because why? Because they keep running.
Yes, they do.
Why do you keep it? Because you told me to. And essentially the coolest thing is that put the LS in, then I show my grandfather. Magnuson, I tell them, Magnuson Superchargers right down the street. I tell him, like, this dude named Aaron comes. He's like, Vin introduces me to him. Thank you, Vin, very much. He's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I'd love to supercharge his car in honor of my grandfather. He's not dead. I say in honor, but they like, is he dead? Like, no, he's very well. And I never forget, we put the supercharger on this whole thing. And before I go to SEMA, I'm driving from the tuner. I pull up, no front end, no nothing. And so I'm like, I film. He don't know. You think I'm using a calculator probably. I'm like, Grandpa, we did it. He like, boy, you got this thing in here, man. Damn, new serpentine belt, new power steering. I was like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, Grandpa, yeah. And he's like, man, Wayne, this thing sure is pretty. I was like, man,
that's cool.
And the cool thing is because he's born in the age of like, the difference between street racing for him and street racing for me is street racing for him, the cops catch you, they beat you up, then leave you somewhere. And luckily he was never in that. Like he's seen it happen, but since he's fair skinned, he passes just for kind of like he's mixed, but he passes for like kind of like a white dude with a tan. And hearing the stories and everything, because growing up with my grandparents and now seeing like Sinners and seeing that time, because grandma talked about picking cotton, Jim Crow, freaking liquor laws, this, that, and the third, and hearing him talk about that, it was like, just like, bro, whatever, but I understand it. And I don't know how he'll take it, because like, again, like I told you, I wasn't there, like, and the car brought us together closer. I call him at least once a week. I haven't called him this week. It's his birthday tomorrow, Saturday. Yeah, tomorrow's his birthday, so I'm gonna go surprise him. Car don't work, but that's the blessing that we share, that he can share that. And it's just gonna sound so insensitive. So this is just my grandfather's words. These aren't mine. He's like, man, I'm gonna call your car Hiroshima. I said, why? He's like, because you'll hear it before it hits you. And I'm like, I'm like,
damn.
but it's he's stuck in that time. And I'm like, because essentially, like the setup I had, like people, if you want to know how loud it is, it sounds like a NASCAR. It's as loud as a NASCAR, but with two-step. So just imagine,
hypersonic, loud.
That's it. If you ask anybody, that motherfucking thing blew your ear. I'm driving it and just my ears are ringing. So I had Gilbert sit on limiter. I was like, I understand, but that's the relationship that car has brought.
But you don't sit on the limiter anymore, right?
That engine. I thought I cooked that engine if my oil pan fell on me. The baffle windage tray came up and was slapping against the crank. So every time I take it apart, that was it. Second, most people don't. I just blew my second engine. I don't know. It'd be on the verge of like, how much money am I going to spend? How much torment is this car? Like to be in anything devoted, whether it be singing, dancing, athleticism, like even like I compare it to bodybuilding. How badly do you want to walk into this gym every day, eat eat a bunch of food to get as big as you can, to place with other dudes, just to like that story of Ronnie Coleman, heartbreak after heartbreak. Now, he didn't complain when he didn't win. You only complain when he started winning. People don't complain when I'm driving. They only complain when I'm crashing. So it's like those heartbreak. How badly do I want this? How badly do I actually want to do this? And I think about it. I'm like, bro, I got first world issues. When I mean, like, yeah, I blew an engine. Yeah, I'm getting another engine. There's people out there driving to work who, if they car break right now, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. They about to meet their maker off of this, because this is their umpteenth time being late. Their boss already riding them. Past due notices in the mail. And I'm sitting here like, my Skyline broke. So
that's a good perspective.
That's the way I kind of look at things. Like, to go back to to be a real, like, it's just, I always thought of life as a glass half full. And what I mean by that, I could sit here and be like, oh, my dad did this, my dad did that. I saw this. I saw a lot of traumatic things as a kid, but I don't sit here and be like, life is whack because my dad did drugs and no, bro, I had a great life. Like those are the building blocks that make you appreciate shit. Like, do
you feel like there's a responsibility, especially being let's call it celebrity influencer, responsibility to the younger kids like your son's age, to put that message out there in your content?
Yes, for me, because outside of what we watched, because I guess we grew up watching sitcoms. So you have Family Matters, All in the Family, Jeffersons, stuff like that. Then you transition to reality TV, which just shows you a bunch of hogwash. And you can't, when you watch reality TV, I can't separate the real from the fake. So for me, I only know how to be me. So for the kids, like they're like, what do you recommend? What do you want to do? Well, I don't think anybody's dreams are stupid. I think everything is possible to an extent, and the extent is just money. So, for example, a little kid told me I want to go to space. Gail, I understand her homegirls just went to space. It's just money. Well, I want to be the first person to be able to fly. Well, you can't grow wings, but you can make a jetpack. Money. So with kids and myself, it's understanding I'm just a giant child. If you really wanted to break it down, I'm a giant child. I've got everything that I could possibly want, everything that I could possibly need: a roof over my head, bed to sleep in, people that care about me, God, family, all that stuff. But for kids these days, they don't know. They see Kai Cenat, they see Exo Speed, and if you really break it down, if I told you 10 years ago you could make a lot of money live streaming doing this, you'd be like, man, I'm stupid, but they made it happen. And that's what the thing is. Just stay ground. This shit, anything you want, there's that point in time where it gets tough. When you go to school, that first semester, it will kick your ass. And then when you're halfway through the program, there's shit assignments that come, whether it be college, a transitional program, the military, whatever. Like, it's just a dude, and you ask yourself, do I really want to do this? And you get over that hurdle, and it's like, yes. Because there's people that are always going to tell you and ask you, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like, that's stupid.
Well, and it's believing in your passions, and that comes across in your videos. And I think that's what's so important, especially for the younger generation, is them knowing and understanding that it's okay to believe in your passion and go for it. If it doesn't work, you tried. Like that's the biggest deal, is like, at least you tried, and you keep trying and you keep going.
That's it. Like when I go to the warehouse at Hoonigan, I walk through the warehouse and I respect all the warehouse workers, and they're like, man, like, you know, they're just chopping up, and like the number one thing the warehouse workers like, bro, you're the only dude from this company who talks to us like a person. I'm like, bro, I used to work at Amazon. I know what it's like. I remember throwing Jiffies, labeling, scanning boxes. Like, I've had damn near every basic shitty job except food service.
Yeah.
The closest thing I ever had was working at C's Candy. But it's like you realize, like, I've had all these jobs, and the number one thing was just that taught me is humility.
Yeah.
Whether it be a aircraft carrier cleaner who don't speak Spanish, the common ground is food. The common ground is music. The common ground is like struggle. Yeah, like the struggles of Kanye West or the struggles of the Kardashians may not be my struggle, but I can empathize with what you're going through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's the same thing. I mean, in TV, people come in, we usually get interns come in, and they go, I'll say, well, what do you want to do in the business? Oh, I want to be an anchor. I say, well, okay, start down here, because when you start down here, you get the perspective that you just talked about. Because when you do become an anchor, then you understand everything beneath you that made you what you are.
Yeah.
It'll make you a better person,
Right.
make you a better anchor, and hopefully they take it to heart, but usually give me a look like,
I feel
what
like
the
we're on
fuck
this
are you
Joe
talking-
Rogan level. We're getting some inspiring shit here.
Right?
I love it, man.
Yeah.
This is
Rogan is what we aspire to, right?
I mean, I don't know if you're listening, if you guys listening to this are getting inspired. I'm fucking inspired. Like, I'm not gonna leave the show now.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Shit.
Is that-
Did I say that out
Is that because you weren't going to get paid? Is that what it is?
Listen, I'll replace them.
I think the only thing missing from our Joe Rogan experience is a little bit of weed or something, because I mean everything else is good to go.
I eat too much. I can't do weed. So,
But that's a great message, that last part you were talking
absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you're at events and you're hosting, do you have a lot of kids coming up to you and like autographs and just trying to talk to you and stuff like that?
It's a mix of people. I guess the weirdest thing for me was somebody older than me, like way older than me. Like, man, I look up to you. The one thing that hit, and I remember the specific. There's a few times. There's a few kids that are constantly that I always see at events. There's one kid I met I can't remember his name, and forgive me. There's a kid I met at the gas station over in La Puente, and now he takes pictures. And the full circle is I saw him at Terra Cruz Speed Metal last year, gave him a ride along. My best driving all that day was when I gave him a ride along. And you're not supposed to give kids underage this, that, and the third, or you'll get kicked out from the event. I don't care, because this kid, I know you like family to me. There's another kid, a Hispanic kid. His dad and his mom always come up to me, and he's excelling in his programs. He's doing an automotive program. So like those stories matter. And then there's a guy who I met at SEMA. This was the year we did, the last year we did the burnout thing was last year was 2024, so 2023. I'm sitting there working on a car, and this dude just like, you can walk by the burn yard, you can slip into the gate, whatever. I'm talking to this dude, and he's just talking about cars and everything, right? And this is me away from my car and just chopping. I was like, man, I just got out of jail, whoop de whoop whoop. And I'm like, man, he's like, yeah, man, I went to jail. I had a car. My old lady held on to it for me. We thought about selling it because I needed money for my books, but she kept it. And we're talking. I was like, yeah. He's like, what do you do here? I'm, oh man, yeah, this is my car. He's like, hold on. He's like, I watched you in jail, like, bro, like, and I'm like, mind you, he looked like some big corn-fed brother with dreads. Mind you, I'm not like this is the biggest. I'm not scared of anybody. But there's 3 things I fear: the LAPD, God, and the ghost of my grandma. So like, like if I ever see my grandma come here, like, Granny, you gotta go. I'm calling Ghostbusters. and God, because he's like, the final judgment. And then the LAPD, they can help you meet both. So I meet him.
That's good.
And we just chopping it up. And it was just one of those. He's like, bro, like, you kept me on my toes. Like, I watched when I saw y'all shit, it kept me wanting to do more.
Wow.
Kept me, and it's like one of those, like, every event somebody will come to me with a story, and it's not to brush them off. I feel like I can give everybody at least 2 to 5 minutes. And what I mean by that, I'm at this event, and the way I think about it, you paid to come here and you wanted to talk to me. You'll see I'll give everybody my time. They'll be like, man, can I FaceTime my homie? I'm like, you better hurry up. But I'm just messing. And I'm like, hey, bro, who am I? Hey, oh, shit, what's up? And I'm like, what's your name? Whoop-de-whoop. I'm like, hey, man, you better fucking get that car done. and there's this lady who's just like, my son, like, he needs to get his car. You know who you're talking about. I told this one dude, you get your car done, I'll give you some wheels. I'll give you the wheels right off the Skyline. And he's like, man, I see him I'm getting this, and he's making progress. I said, and his girl's like, man, he's trying. I was like, as soon as that motherfucker rolls, you're going to be rolling. So you know that. And so yes,
that's badass.
A lot of people come up to me. It's just the like, at this point, like, events for me aren't events for the normal person. You probably could attest to this. I can't just go to a car event and just be me.
Yeah.
Like, and once in a while somebody will stop, and I don't mind that. Does it get overwhelming? Yes, but at the same time, it's recognition. It's letting you know all your hard work, everything you've done, and everything you're doing is. People watch it. Yeah. People like, man, like me and my wife, she don't even watch car videos, but we'll sit here and watch your Rant Wednesdays all day. And I'm like, yeah, like, when you gonna do it? And like, they're like, why you don't do it as often? I was like, I could do a Rant Wednesday every Wednesday, but if my heart isn't in it, you'll feel it. And it's like when I watch the Chappelle show, people are like, man, I wish this show was longer. I don't. Yeah. And what I mean by, he gave us a solid 3 seasons. Yeah. Solid 3 seasons. Anything other than that, you're like, oh, this again, then it elevates. And that's just like, that's what it is. And then I'm appreciative of all of it.
Everything needs a beginning and an end, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
You can't just be on forever. Yeah. Like The Simpsons.
Yeah. and that's the thing, like, it has to reincarnate itself. Yeah. Just like toys, you figure, just like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles we watched growing up isn't the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles of today, because it has to serve that audience.
Yeah, right.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. I mean, it's like why they don't make this, well, the R33s and 34s and then the 35s, they're probably still, are they done with the 35s?
I think they're supposed to be like the last couple years of
But like,
of
if they continued to make the R34s, they didn't stop until the rebirth. If they just kept making it, probably wouldn't be as special. So I can totally appreciate a limited time. We're here on this earth for a limited time, so everything else should be on a limited time.
Right.
So did you have any of this covered in your rundown for the show today? Was this?
Yes.
You did? Okay, cool. I don't want to get too off topic.
Oh, my bad. I don't want to swing.
No, it was all good. It was, and it's funny too. I was gonna throw in there that when I saw you at SEMA last year, and I usually, when I see him, I try and like stop and say hi, but I firsthand get to watch like all the people who want to come up and talk to him, because they're like, "Ooh, Gary," and but it was cute because I had my buddy, remember from the East Coast, and I remember him telling me like the night before he texted me. He's like, "Are you going to see him tomorrow?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm probably gonna stop and say hi to Gary." He loves Gary, like watches his stuff. And he was like, "Well, let me know when you go see him because I really want to meet him." He was like super excited.
That's cool.
He was like a little kid. I loved it. It was great. And then I have a picture of the three of us. It was hilarious. But I love seeing how many people love you because it's not just one particular type of person. It's kids, it's men, it's the single ladies, it's grandmas, it's grandmas. Yeah.
Are you single?
At the moment, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He has somebody special in his life, but that's Mr. Kouki Bear. So
Mr. Kouki Bear, that's my road dog. That's like my grandfather and grandmother gave me a stuffed animal, a bear, and they gave him the name Mr. Kouki Bear. I guess I don't know who gave him the name. I don't say my dad, but I've had that, and as weird as it sounds, I've had him 36 years. I'm 36 years old. So
yeah.
Does Kouki Bear go drifting with you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he takes him everywhere. Yeah.
I'll essentially, like, as weird as it sounds, I'll bring him to the event, put him in the truck and everything, and like I got to get him a little helmet so he can I got to get him a little helmet, and a little suit so he can pass tech.
This tech guy would be like, hey, he needs a helmet.
Yeah.
So you weren't kidding when you said you're a kid.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah.
It's
I love it.
Yeah.
You know what you
Yes.
need to do?
Just a
You
big
need to
kid.
make some Kouki Bear stickers.
I've been trying. I've been trying. It's like in my head, I know where I want to transition out of automotive.
Yeah.
And I think I know where it is. I don't want to say until I know, but like if you see it, you be like, makes sense.
Yeah.
That fits the market.
Your brand is definitely, now that getting to know you more, your brand is definitely on point. Speaking of brand, not to make a shameless plug, but for your Busta Grimes.
Oh
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, turn the
There you go.
God.
There you
Here
go.
you go. Yes.
That stuff is, well, there you go.
Yeah.
First, I actually thought like this when I first saw your first plug for it on your channel. When you first put the sticker on your car, I thought that was your nickname. I was like, "Oh, that's a cool nickname." And then you posted out, "It's a cleaner." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's even better, dude."
So even with that, my boy Rory from Big Country Labs, we were at this cheap ass buffet, and he was, "Gary, the number one thing you want to do," he's Australian, I'm fucking butchering your accent, so I won't even try. He's like, "The number one thing you want to do if you want to make money in the world, give them something that they don't know they need."
Mm.
And I was like, "What?" He's like, "You'll figure it out." With me, I made wings until people bit my style, and now no people don't no longer run wings. But you'll find something. So I'm in the shop one day spraying it. We're going through cases and cases. Every car guy goes through cases and cases of brake clean. And I was like, it's like the fucking. I said, I told my boy, why don't I make brake clean? And he's like, I wouldn't know how to make that, but like if you figure it out, more power to you. I'll call up my homie. I'm like, yo, I got an idea. Because he's like one of those, he invests in everybody. It's like one of those, he has enough money to invest in everything, but I've never seen the ROI come back. It was like one day it was a dispensary, one day it was this, one day it was that. And it all worked to an extent, then he got out. So it was like you got what you needed and it made it work. And he was the dude that sold me my first R34. I was like, I got an idea. I want to make a break. He's like, what's the idea? He's like, you know, when anybody asks you what subject, predicate, all that shit you need to have filled out. And this is just me, the gift of, bro, I want to make a brake cleaner. And he's like, how so? I was like, bro, think about it. Like everybody uses it. Everybody needs it. But like when you think of mopping products, this, that, and the third, you think Pine Sol, WD-40, Dawn, this, that, even if it isn't what it, like him to scrub that, even if it isn't what it is, you're going to call it by that, by default. Brake clean, brake clean is a brake clean. And I was like, bro, so he's like, okay, cool. He does his thing, and he's like, we got to come up with a name. Original name was Colt 69. And it was like, and we were like all on board, and it was like, what, Colt 6, what's the 69? Cleans from top to bottom, any direction.
Now there's marketing. That's marketing.
That's marketing,
right
right?
This is how my brain thinks, because I'm a fan of marketing, because every commercial we watched in the 90s, the survival commercial, the dude's driving, he's like, he got a donut, he's trying to find his milk, and then you see his girlfriend drinking the milk, and you're like, bitch, where's my milk? or the Everest College, everything.
Everest College.
You got the top marketing things I can think of. Billy Mays.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The Everest College during the daytime TV. the Yo Ketto Taco Bell guy, Capri Suns when everybody was looking. So lunch, everything is about how you sell the product. So that was Colt. Colt was like, it's double on time. So it's Colt like the horse, Colt like the gun. But then at the time we're thinking about like, you got to think about your market. Number one, I just did my old brand, which I don't want to mention. It was like, you already came from something like provocative and all that. Now, and then we're like thinking like, fuck, now we need another name. Sitting there. And he was like, Mr. Gary, I'm at this thing today. This lady was talking about, man, we're trying to come up with names, and we told her about it because we got to register an LLC. He's like, we got to think of a name today. And he was like, man, this shit, Grimes, this, cleaning that. And then I was talking about hip hop, like, and the Tribe Called Quest and Busta Rhymes. I was like, Busta Grimes. And he was like, I think we got it. And then it was like, Busta Grimes. And it was like,
you'll remember that. I'll remember that for sure. And thank you for bringing it up because I will definitely use that.
Just listen. No obligate. Just let me know how you like it. And if you can guess the scent, you get another can.
So do you have multiple products? It's
multiple. So I just had this in my car. So I've got engine degreaser, multi-purpose degreaser, BG40, brake cleaner, helmet cleaner.
Damn.
There's two more brake cleaner, helmet cleaner, sticker remover. And there's one more I'm forgetting, forgive me, like tire blaze. Okay. So the cool thing was that I had to go overseas to Asia to go try all this. And you go places to test stuff, and like they're like, go use this. This is when I found out why live leaks exist, why OSHA exists. I'm overseas in Asia. Motherfuckers who's making this, flip-flops, t-shirt, shorts, like they dress like me, they smoking. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, where's OSHA? Like, bro, we're in Asia. Nobody knows. But like I go to the factory and they're like trying to give me stuff. And the number one factory that stood out, I saw this dirty ass forklift in the background. I was like, can I clean that? Yes, go. And I'm like, I'm spraying the brake cleaner on the chain of the forklift part that goes up and down to get it up and down, and I'm spraying it and it's just melting off. Like, this is it. If you can make this smell like this, we're in it. And then I'm chilling. We go back, and my boy's like, bro, they did it. Like, and it's coming, and we're all the footwork. This has been a year in the making. Like, there's all the footwork designers. Thank you to all my boys, Square One. Everybody, I'm forgetting about the two dudes right now. They're trying to be like, but you know who you are because I owe you money. But even that, like, it's just like, yet again, investing in yourself. Like the investment that my partner made on tens of thousands of dollars, investment on my end of thousands of dollars for designing. Because like if you like, not to toot my horn or nothing, like all this, the labeling, the marketing,
the color,
and that was the number one thing. Like for the color, he was like, what do you want to do? Black and green. And why is that number one thing I learned at Hoonigan? Like, and just being a part of the marketing team and just sitting in meetings with people like Chip Fu, sitting in meetings with people on major corporate brand levels was like, you need to make something that stands out. So even if I put this way across the room, what's that green and black can? And then if you look at it like, even if you look at it from a distance, like when you go, and I'm going, what I'm doing is studying, I'm going to automotive stores. Looking at a distance, seeing like, okay, CRC's red and white. Okay, this is orange and blue, but nothing's green. Nothing to stand out that makes me say, well, why do I want this? Number one, our can's a little bit taller. So when you look at the other cans, like, what's that tall? Why is that can taller than the others? And then my boy, it's just back and forth, but there's a lot that goes into it. And when we finally got it, when it finally came here, like, and we used it, and I'm using it, I'm like, it actually works. and like when people, I'm like, it actually works. Of course it actually. But the thing is, because like I said, people are here to make a dollar, not an experience. And what I mean by that is, if you thought of Dawn dish soap, what's the first thing you think of?
It's blue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What else is blue? Palmolive's blue. But the number one thing while you buy Dawn, they got that fucking duck on there. And that's the number one thing you think about. Like every Dawn.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say the duck.
Yeah, and every time they're like, look at this duck. It's surrounded in oil. And you see, and it's always a baby duck. They never use look at this Alaskan pig, and it's like this Razorback, like this duck. Washed it with Dawn soap, and then set the duck off, and it's like quack, quack, quack. And it's like, just remember that duck? Now it's a full, but it's like they sell you the experience.
Yeah.
Everything, Mr. Clean, any Magic, any Tide, any of that. Like with the Tide Pod thing, that's the biggest. Any publicity is good publicity.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those things, like, as my brain thinks, I'm like thinking about, even for myself, how do I market myself? How do I do this? How do I do that? market this, market that, because essentially, like, I know in automotive, I got a good 5 years. This is year 1. So after this year, I got 4 left. And then it's like, what do we do from here? And I was like, this is the time that I'm going to invest everything into myself. What I mean by that, paying camera people, paying editors, paying this, because these are things I can't do. So if I have access to the funds to do it, why not do so? Because the number one thing is, and I tell people like, why do you do all this? Why are you so busy? How many times have you had a normal, how many times have you had a normal job and your boss was like, can you work overtime? I'll work overtime.
It was just happening this morning.
But I ask you an honest question. When's the last time you put overtime into yourself?
Ooh.
How many times have you
my wife would say that doing this right here.
This is your overtime.
This is my overtime that I'm doing for myself.
Yeah. But to the normal person, they never do that.
Yeah.
They 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Come home. Their dream. Oh, I want to lose weight. I want to do this. I want to do that. It's cool to want to do things, but are you going to do it?
Yeah.
Like, I was one of those dudes like, oh, I'm going to lose weight, this, that, and the third. Until one day it was just like, I was FaceTiming my friend. She's like, you look fucking bloated, bro. Like, and I'm in Maryland. I talked to my uncle. I was like, Uncle Marvin, let's go to the gym. All right. I'm going to be up, because he goes, he's 50 years old, retired. I'm going to be up at this time. If you ain't up at this time, wait, I'm leaving your ass, because I got to pick up the daycare kids. I got to do this. Then I go to the gym. And I'm laying down. And the time rolls around, and I'm listening to hear him do something. He called me. I'm in the van. Where the fuck are you? I'm like, phew. I just run downstairs. But then that was the day I became accountable.
Yeah.
And that's and then I have this voice in my head of accountability as David Goggins mixed with William Dafoe's Green Goblin.
That's a hell of a mix right
So
there.
it's all I hear, man. All I hear, you fat back bitch.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do it?
It lifts the boat.
Yeah.
It lifts the boat.
Who's gonna lift the ships, Gary? And I'm like, David Goblins, no. But that the thing is, nobody wants to be held accountable anymore.
Yeah.
And then what I tell people in a great friend group, there's a difference between somebody holding you accountable and just being a fucking dick. And then it's hard to weave that out because they're your friend. So you take everything as accountability. But then at some point it was like, bro, what are you talking this nonsense for? Like I understand you want me to be accountable, but it's like you're pushing a little bit too much. And it's only really to see how far you can get me to go, but it's not the right method.
Yeah.
And it's just understanding, like, I had a football coach, Coach Rob. I didn't want to play football. He was just like, you big, you strong, you're going to play football. And it was just one of those, just having size, having power. Imagine I have the hard R strength, and I'll just leave it at that. You can whatever you want to use the hard R strength. And it's just like, we're pushing the sled. I don't know shit about football. I'm pushing it. It's like, drive. They stop driving. I push the sled all the way in a circle with nobody pushing it. And they're like, well, push it again. I'm like, why? Don't say why. I'm like, what I do? They're like, you don't know how to follow a basic command. And if you can't do this, how are you going to translate that into real life? And that's where team sports create structure, this, that, and the third. But that's the grand scheme of all of this, is just being able to follow through with your dreams. And it's like, as long as I have a dream, it may be so small to the normal person. It may be so big to the person that doesn't know. I'm following it. And to be able to wake up and say, I am blessed to be busy all the time for myself, for the companies I work for, is great. Because I told my friend DJ when I was 18, I was messing around. I was like, somebody gonna give me a free turbo one day. He said, N-word, who the fuck gonna give you a free turbo? It wasn't, I don't believe you can't get a free turbo, but how are you going to get a free turbo? I was like, I don't know. I'm going to make it work. Garrett's my sponsor.
Yeah.
There you go.
Magnus the Supercharger is my sponsor. He called me at least once a month. We talked for like 30 minutes. Hey, G, I'm proud of your fat ass N-word. Like, I remember when you was out here living doo-doo paper in the sink, and I was like, you right. You right. But like I say again, am I burnt out? Yes. Do I get overwhelmed? Yes. First world problems. My boss is me. And the giant H. The giant H just wants me to make sure don't misrepresent the company. We know what I know, the biggest backhanded compliment, I'm at that SEMA. Same year I'm at the Corn Fed. And the corporate people are like, what does Gary do? And they're like, Gary does Gary. What does that mean? That just watch him do his thing? We're at the show. I'm like, who wants to see a burnout? And then I do say, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob. And I'm taking off my shirt, throwing my shoes off. I'm just in drawers, pretty much. Just no shirt, no shoes, no socks. That's what Gary does. All right. We see why he paying, and you can't. You as many people as I tell, as people may ask, your job is easy. All right, if my job's so easy, you go down front 10,000 people and keep them.
Yeah.
That's why. Side note, that's why I respect Jared D and the voice of drifting. I will call people like, oh, that guy sucks. That guy is whack. He doesn't know how to announce drifting. And now as a drift announcer and seeing how he does things, up 15 years in the game, you be entertaining for 8 hours.
Yeah.
2 times a day.
Try 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Eight minutes.
Yeah, like at Hot Pit, I'm in the stands and I'm listening to you talking, and you have to carry a conversation for hours, and you have to also know who's on the track, what's going on, and it's a lot. Like, I don't think people realize how much pressure that is.
It is, and for me, it's like, it's not the pressure. And it's like, at first I used to take Hot Pit as a joke. And what I mean by that, no disrespect, Jeff Jones and RJ, when I say take it as, oh, this is just a drift event. But then when FD came on board this year and they started taking Hot Pit seriously, then I started noticing the viewership was more than prospect. We got something going here. Then the criticism, the feedback. There's a difference between criticism and feedback. Jeff was like, go back and watch the shit. I didn't used to go back and watch the shit until this last round. My boy Gilbert's like, bro, I hate to say it, like, your boy's running circles around you. I said, nigga, what? Like, what you, excuse me, I'm like, N-word, what? He's like, yeah, your boy's running circles around you. So I watched the video on, like, what to do as a better announcer. What do I need to do to be better? Because at this point, I have God-given talent, but what is it? Skill beats talent every day. I think Mike Tyson said that. There's a dude out there throwing left-handers all day. Yeah, I got a nice little something, but when you get hit with the and you get thrown off, then it's like, okay, dial it back. And then I looked at it and I'm like, I'm listening to the first 5 minutes of me announcing, I already know what's wrong. I'm writing notes to myself. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. For example, then this is for anybody, like for myself, for anybody wondering, what's my notes to myself? When anytime somebody's watching you, you want to make them feel like they want to watch you. If I sat here and was like, my name is Gary, I drive, nobody wants to hear that. But if I come and bring all the energy, which I always have to have, there is no off switch. My off switch is when I'm asleep. I barely sleep. So I'm always on go. Somebody could wake me out of bed at gunpoint. Give me an ad right now. Oh man, I love this podcast so much. Check it out on this channel at this time. Likes, comment, subscribe below. And if you don't, I'll find you. But that's what it has to be.
Yeah.
And the notes for myself was, why I'm in Bakersfield, right? That's where since Irwindale closed, Kern County, Bakersfield. We all know Bakersfield's Bakersfield. Yes. Let's be honest. And if you know what that means, I'm not dissing Bakersfield. Ain't shit to do in Bakersfield. Yeah. But for the person watching, I have to make them feel like they're at fucking Orlando, Florida, Disneyland. Yeah. And wherever we at, it's Orlando, Florida. Bro, we could be in San Bernardino at the Orange Show Speedway. Nah, motherfucker, you at the fucking Florida. And it's just making people feel that. So when I talk now, when I think about that, I don't think about things when I talk. It's the level of energy, knowing the drivers, knowing what they went through, knowing this, knowing that. And it's like, bro, you don't know what it took for you to get here. I don't know what it took for you to get here. And I used to open up Hot Pit with, if your family's here right now and you feel like you shouldn't be here, pack it up right now, because they didn't waste their time and you didn't waste your money trying to make it. You got to make it. And I don't say that anymore, because as a driver now, and I went back to all the Hot Pit drivers and I told them, like, if I've ever said anything that made you feel uncomfortable, embarrassed you, or made you feel less adequate as a human, I'm sorry. And everybody across the board was like, we understand it's humor. Like, we know it's you. So we never took it like, for example, Jackson Orr, his granny was there. And I didn't disrespect, I'm hyping the shit out of Jackson Orr. Whether his car, like a lot of, and this is where motorsports comes down to it. Every driver's on the same level. It's whoever has the biggest budget. F1, who's got the biggest budget? Ferrari? Is it Mercedes? Who's got the money? Once in a while, once in a blue moon, the underdog will win. And then what happens when the underdog wins? Big corporate company scoops him up. Chelsea DeNofa was the underdog for years of drifting. I remember him drifting that 4-door E46 with them giant flags on. Then the next year he was with RTR. He's a champion. Now he's living his life. When I saw Jeff Jones for the first time in an all-black S14 with a giant X, no sponsors, no nothing. Now he has his own drift series that's competing. Ooh, excuse me. That's a competitor for FD. Me coming from aerospace, not knowing what I was going to do in life. Like I thought my end all be all was going to be B-21 bombers. Oh, great. But now I'm here. So it's like every little thing, something comes from something. And in motorsports, it's like understanding, like, don't give up. Like, it's hard. This shit hard.
Right.
This shit ain't easy.
Yeah.
Because like they say, like this is what I tell people. How many people are competing versus the people watching? That lets you know how hard it is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And the higher you go, the numbers get smaller and smaller
Yes.
exponentially.
Yes.
Think how many F1 drivers you know?
Not one.
How many F1 drivers you know?
3. No, I
Way
just
to
wanted
blow
to
the-
stump you. That's all.
blow the
At
points
best,
today.
the closest thing I know to F1 driver is Jesse Ouija, which is a NASCAR driver. That's as close as I met him, and I met what's the goddamn Tony Stewart once. But I know Jesse, another black drifter, fucking amazing, kills it, Navy, doing his own thing. Him and his brothers killing it, and then just on that level. And he's on the Infinity circuit, which is like I don't know how NASCAR works, but it's below.
Yeah.
So you'd have like
AAAs.
Triple A's,
Yeah.
G League, freaking whatever the B League of cornholing, whatever it is. Like he's there.
Yeah.
And then you be like, oh, you washed up, but people will always have something negative to say.
Yeah.
But the only negative because their insecurities wouldn't let them live
for
their
sure.
dream.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, so I have a question. I don't want to I'm thinking we probably covered everything.
Yeah.
But there's a question I would be wanting to ask you. Who's the best black drifter?
The best?
The best black drifter? Because there's a few. Not a lot of people know, right? But most people know Hurt, obviously. And they know you. And they know Jesse too. I mean, I don't know. He's not big in the drift scene. I guess.
I figure like I know he does events here.
Yeah.
I don't know if he does events.
So, but not a lot of people. I mean, I know California guy, whatever. But like, I really want to know, who do you think is the best black drifter? And you can say yourself too. You can nominate yourself if you like.
I would not. If you look like at a stat board, I'm like bottom, like just Gary. What do you consider best? Like.
Well, I know drifting is subjective, based off,
Are you basing off of accolades?
Let's go off style. Who's got the best style?
The best, I'd say Hurt. Hurt for sure. Like, because I grew up. He's not much older than me, but it was just one of those. Like, somebody's like, "When did you get an RX-7?" I don't want a fucking RX-7. Like, because throughout the dawn of time, we favor each other in look and body shape. So I always get, "Are you Hurt?"
I mean.
Have you ever pretended one time?
When people won't let the idea of I'm not Hurt go, I'll pretend to be him, and I'll play. Oh man, I love your RX-7. Why'd you go back from Rotor? Why'd you go to LL? Man, rotaries. The biggest cool thing was like Ralph Barbosa, comedian. He went to Hurt. He thought Hurt was me. And I'm like, yes, you feel my pain.
So Hurt's got it too.
Yeah,
I like it.
It happens every once in a
That's
blue
great.
moon,
You need to do a collab single. You drop a single with somebody. Maybe not T-Pain, somebody else.
Listen. I don't know how to rap or how to sing, but I'll make that shit work.
We throw auto-tune on you, you'd be good, dude.
Whatever.
So, hey, be looking out for a single. Whatever that might be.
From the track to the streets, volume 1.
Busta Grimes, baby.
I'm just rapping about Transformers and Golden Corral.
Gotta be relatable.
That's it, bro. Listen.
I think your rap name can be Busta Grimes.
Yeah.
That'd be a good rap name.
Busta Grimes featuring Busta Rhymes.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, collab. There's a collab. Right?
Why you bite my name? Listen, Mr. Rhymes.
Mr. Rhymes.
I'm just a brother trying to make a dollar. Don't be mad at me. I can see if I was out here like, man, forget you, Busta. Nope. I respect Busta Rhymes. I remember when he had that the Knight Rider theme.
Yeah.
That could be. I think there's a collab there. I think there could be something.
I've got a few screws loose for things I want to do in my head. Like there's a whole like inappropriate horror thing I want to make that I'm waiting.
We gotta leave that for a cliffhanger. I want to leave that for a cliffhanger because
right.
I want you to come back because I'm pretty sure in the next probably 5 minutes, but like it's 5 months to at least, you said 5 years. You got 4 years left. Love to see and follow your progress along that, man.
Yeah.
That's really
Jordan
cool.
Or we can go out and
Team up with
interview
Garden
him.
Yeah.
We can go out and interview him on one of his locations.
And take CJ for a ride, scare the shit out of him.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming.
Thank you for
It
having
was
me.
super fun.
Thank you so
Super
much.
fun. I mean, my cheeks kind of hurt from smiling so much, laughing. That's great. I love it. So thank you. Thank you for coming.
Let's see how you wrap up the show.
I know.
Stare into your camera. Stare into your camera.
Do I say like, subscribe, follow again?
You can say whatever you like, Christina.
Thanks for watching. This is so. I didn't even think about the ending. I only thought about the beginning.
You gotta want to coming back for more. Like, listen, if you don't come back, there's a dark corner in your house, and wherever there's a dark corner, there's me. So you got two options: to keep watching or find out if I'm in that corner or not. Like, comment, subscribe below. I love you.
Oh, you want me
that's
to
what
do
I
the
forget
whole
to do.
like welcome to West of Tulsa? I'm Christina.
CJ does.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I
You
didn't
do
know
what
if
you
you want
do.
me to do. Okay, all right. A ratchet, Christina.
I haven't seen a lot of this stuff since my.
See I'm trying to see what my profile looks like.
This is professional.
Look at the camera in the middle, right?
No, the one on the left.
Oh, that one.
I don't know how Joe Rogan's not out of business with you guys.
CJ, being a pro at what he does,
Test.
we've been proper and this and that, but they don't know.
I'll fuck that up soon.
You act like you don't know me.
Yeah.
Does your camera automatically switch when somebody's talking?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
That's crazy.
So this is